Before a woman can truly become wise, before she can step into her own strength, she must first see her own worth. Because every choice, every relationship, every chance that comes her way will mirror how she values herself. The truth is, the world doesn't decide your value. You do. Yet so many women spend their lives waiting for someone else to confirm it, to say they're enough, they're beautiful, they're capable. And that's where it all begins to slip. When you rely on others to tell you who you are, you hand them your power. You give away your sense of worth to opinions that shift like the wind. But when you look inward and find that calm, steady knowing of who you are, that's when you become untouchable. Knowing your worth isn't arrogance, it's alignment. It's understanding what you stand for, what you deserve, and refusing to accept anything less. There's a quiet energy that radiates from a woman who knows her value. Not because she's trying to prove something, but because she's lived enough to understand it. She no longer explains herself to those who don't see her. She no longer chases those who walk away. She no longer bends herself to fit into spaces that can't hold her light. She knows her time, her love, her attention. These are precious things. They are not to be handed out to those who haven't earned them. A wise woman has faced moments when she doubted herself deeply. Maybe she's been ignored, underestimated, or made to feel small. But in those very moments, she found truth. No one can make you feel unworthy unless you let them. The world reflects what you believe about yourself. If you see yourself as unworthy, others will too. But if you see yourself as enough, whole and capable, that's exactly what life will mirror back. You attract energy that matches how you treat yourself. That's how the universe works. Think of it this way. When you walk into a room knowing your worth, you don't need to announce it. You don't need to impress anyone with how you talk or look. Your confidence speaks first. It's not loud. It's calm, grounded, magnetic. It's the kind of energy that makes people stop and take notice. Not because you demand it, but because you are real. When you stop pretending, stop performing, and just exist in your truth, that's when you become powerful beyond measure. There's something deeply transforming about a woman who finally understands she doesn't need to chase approval. She doesn't need to be liked by everyone. She doesn't need to shrink herself for anyone's comfort. She can walk away from what disturbs her peace. And that act becomes her declaration of strength. A truly smart woman doesn't just know her worth in her mind. She lives it. Emotionally, financially, spiritually. She invests in her growth. She honors her own time. And she never apologizes for her standards. But here's the real challenge to understand your worth. You must face the parts of yourself that doubt it. You have to confront those inner voices that whisper, "You're not good enough," or "You'll never make it." And instead of believing them, meet them with kindness and truth. Remind yourself that your worth was never something to earn. It was there from the start. You were born worthy, and no mistake or rejection can take that away. The world will try to convince you that your value depends on your looks, success, or relationships. But that's a lie. Your worth existed long before any of that. A smart woman also knows that valuing herself doesn't mean she stops growing. It means she can evolve without fear. She can make mistakes without losing confidence. She can start again without losing herself. She can walk into new chapters without waiting for approval. That's the real gift of self-worth. It frees you. It makes you unshakable. Not because life won't test you, but because no test can break your foundation anymore. When you understand your worth, you stop negotiating it. You stop giving discounts on your energy. You stop explaining why you deserve love, respect, and opportunity. You no longer stay where you have to beg for basic decency. Anything that asks you to forget your value is too costly for your soul. That understanding brings peace. And that peace becomes your strength. When a woman reaches that clarity, the world rearranges itself for her. People treat her differently. Opportunities align. What once felt far away begins to flow toward her. Because when you value yourself, the world has no choice but to follow your lead. Life mirrors the energy you project. The moment you say, "I am enough," and mean it, everything begins to change. So if you want to become a truly wise woman, start here. Stop seeking approval. Stop dimming your light. Stop apologizing for existing. Stand tall in your truth. Know that you are already whole, already capable, already worthy. Not someday, but right now. Once you understand your worth, no one can ever take it from you. That deep, unshakable awareness of your own value, that's where real intelligence begins. Knowledge makes you informed, but emotional intelligence makes you wise. It's one thing to understand the world, and another to understand yourself and those around you. A smart woman doesn't just think clearly. She feels deeply and responds with intention. She knows that managing emotions isn't about suppressing them, but guiding them with awareness, because emotions, when ignored, can cloud your vision. But when understood, they can carry you toward peace, connection, and strength. We often believe being smart means being quick, logical, or sharp. Yet even the brightest minds can fall under emotional pressure if they never learn to balance the heart and mind. Emotional intelligence bridges that space. It allows you to stay calm when life is messy, kind when others are not, and patient when things fall apart. It's a quiet superpower, unseen but undeniable. A woman with emotional intelligence knows when to speak and when silence says more. She can feel tension without needing words. She doesn't react, she observes. She chooses her battles with wisdom, not pride. That's not weakness, that's mastery. Because when you stop reacting to everything that stirs you, you rise above it. You stop living in chaos and start moving with calm. You become the stillness in the storm. And that stillness gives you power. There's great strength in a woman who no longer takes things personally. She knows that people's actions often reflect their own pain. When someone lashes out, she sees hurt. When someone criticizes unfairly, she sees fear. She doesn't let their negativity shape her mood, because emotional maturity isn't about controlling others. It's about mastering yourself. Many women lose their power by letting emotions drive their actions. They let anger speak, fear decide, sadness lead. But emotions aren't meant to rule you. They're meant to guide you. They're messages pointing toward what needs healing or change. A wise woman listens, learns, and responds with clarity, not chaos. That's what makes her stand out in a world that reacts before it thinks. Emotional intelligence is empathy, the ability to feel others without losing yourself. A smart woman connects deeply, but keeps her boundaries strong. She can comfort without carrying others' pain, help without losing her direction, love without abandoning herself. That balance is rare, but it's the root of real wisdom. When you lead with empathy, you build bridges instead of walls. You open doors logic alone never could. But empathy also asks for self-honesty. You can't understand others if you hide from your own emotions. You must face your anger, jealousy, and fear, not with shame, but curiosity. Ask yourself why you feel what you feel. You'll start to see the patterns behind your reactions. Most people never do this work. They project their pain or run from it. But the woman who turns inward learns something powerful. Once you can name your emotions, they stop controlling you. Awareness brings clarity, and clarity brings freedom. Imagine walking into a situation that once would have shaken you, but now you feel nothing but peace. Not because you don't care, but because you've grown. You've mastered the art of emotional distance without losing emotional depth. You feel everything, yet nothing throws you off balance. A smart woman doesn't use emotions as weapons. She uses them as wisdom. She knows that kindness can solve what force cannot. That listening can reveal what arguing never will. And that holding her temper doesn't make her weak. It makes her unstoppable. Because the one who controls her emotions controls her future. Think about how many moments in life fall apart because someone couldn't pause before reacting. One word said in anger can ruin peace or opportunity. But when you learn to breathe, to wait, to choose your response, that's when you start mastering not just the moment, but yourself. That pause is where growth lives. That pause is where power begins. The beauty of emotional intelligence is simple. It turns pain into perspective. Every heartbreak, every disappointment, every betrayal becomes a teacher. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" a wise woman asks, "What is this trying to teach me?" That small change in thought turns her from a victim of her pain into a student of life. She no longer fears emotional hurt because she understands it's shaping her into someone wiser, softer, and stronger all at once. And that's the truth most people miss. Real strength doesn't come from avoiding feelings. It comes from facing them, learning from them, and still standing tall. A woman who feels deeply but stays calm is the most powerful kind of woman. She isn't afraid of her emotions because she's learned to move with them, not against them. Her calmness unsettles the loud. Her kindness confuses the cruel. And her emotional depth inspires those around her. When a woman learns emotional intelligence, she no longer battles the world. She moves with it. She sees through the noise, listens beyond words, and leads with both her heart and her mind in perfect balance. And in that balance, she finds her true wisdom. Not the kind that needs to be proven, but the kind that simply exists. Because the smartest woman in the room isn't the one who speaks the most. She's the one who understands the silence. There comes a point in every woman's life when she learns to guard her energy as if it were her most precious treasure. Because it is. Energy is life. It shapes how you think, how you feel, what you choose, and who you draw toward you. Yet so often, women give it away too easily. To people who drain them, to worries that consume them, to situations that no longer deserve them. A wise woman understands her energy shapes her reality. She protects it not from selfishness, but from understanding. She knows that every thought she entertains, every word she speaks, every place she spends time, all of it either feeds her or empties her. So she chooses peace over noise, growth over gossip, purpose over distraction. The world will always test your limits. It will ask for more than you can give and take as much as you allow. If you don't set your boundaries, someone else will. Protecting your energy isn't about building walls. It's about creating filters. Quiet choices about what deserves your attention. Because not everything does. Some people feed your soul, others feed on it. Some moments help you rise, others keep you small. Once you see the difference, life feels lighter, more meaningful, less chaotic. A woman who protects her energy doesn't say yes out of guilt. She doesn't join in drama just to belong. She doesn't entertain every opinion about her. She knows peace matters more than popularity. Her silence, her distance, her calm, they aren't signs of weakness. They're signs of power. Because true power doesn't need to prove itself. It simply preserves itself. There's something magnetic about a woman who chooses calm in a world addicted to chaos. People wonder how she stays steady when others lose control. They'll try to test her, pull her into their storms. But she won't go because she's learned peace is a choice, not a condition. She doesn't attend every argument she's invited to. She doesn't explain her boundaries to those who profit from crossing them. She just walks away quietly, not from pride, but from self-respect. Protecting your energy also means protecting your focus. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Every time you replay what someone said, worry about what hasn't happened, or try to control what you can't, you leak energy, and eventually you feel empty. Not because life took from you, but because you gave too much away. A wise woman learns to turn that energy inward. Instead of overthinking, she creates. Instead of gossiping, she grows. Instead of complaining, she acts. She knows energy wasted on the wrong things delays what's meant for her. But protecting your energy isn't only about avoiding negativity. It's about nurturing what gives you life. It's choosing people who inspire you, not those who drain you. It's spending time in stillness, listening to your own thoughts, reconnecting with what truly matters. The more clarity you fill yourself with, the less space there is for chaos. And once you reach that space, life starts to mirror your peace. Opportunities come naturally. The right people show up. You begin attracting those who match your calm, not those who disturb it. That's the quiet power of energy. It reflects who you are, not what you say. You'll notice that once you start protecting your energy, certain things fall away: old friendships, draining routines, empty conversations. At first, it might feel lonely. You may wonder if you've become distant or too selective. But soon you'll realize it isn't loneliness you feel. It's peace. It's the sound of your spirit finally being heard. It's the clarity that appears when you stop fighting to be understood and start enjoying the quiet of understanding yourself. A woman who protects her energy learns that not every emotion needs a reaction. She pauses before she responds. She watches before she judges. She doesn't let someone else's chaos decide her calm. She knows some people want to provoke, not connect, and she chooses not to dance with that energy. That's how she wins. Not by fighting harder, but by refusing to fight battles that don't deserve her. The beauty of this truth is balance. You can care deeply, but wisely. You can love fully, but consciously. You can give without losing yourself. Protecting your energy doesn't make you cold. It makes you clear. It helps you show up from fullness, not emptiness. When your energy is whole, your presence heals others. People feel safer, softer, calmer around you, not because you've done something extraordinary, but because you live from your center. There's a grace to that kind of woman. She moves with ease. Not because life is easy, but because she doesn't waste energy on resistance anymore. She flows. She adapts. She knows that everything she loses by protecting her energy was never meant for her anyway. She realizes peace isn't found. It's built. And she builds it every day through her choices. So protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Be careful where it goes, who receives it, and what drains it. When you stop scattering yourself across what doesn't serve you, you'll find more strength, more creativity, more love than ever before. That's when you understand the most powerful woman isn't the one who controls everything around her, but the one who masters everything within her. A truly wise woman never stops learning. She understands every season of life has something to teach her, and she welcomes change not as a threat, but as an invitation to grow. The woman who refuses to evolve, who clings to old versions of herself, ends up trapped by them. But the one who stays curious, keeps questioning, exploring, reinventing, she remains timeless. Because intelligence isn't fixed, it's alive. It grows as you do. We often think learning ends when school does, but real education begins when life tests you. Through heartbreaks, failures, and uncertainty. These are your real teachers. Every experience, whether painful or joyful, holds wisdom waiting to be seen. But only the wise woman looks beyond the surface. She doesn't ask, why me? She asks, what can I learn from this? That small shift turns every loss into growth, every ending into evolution. To evolve means to release what no longer fits the person you're becoming. It means letting go of habits, beliefs, even relationships that keep you small. It's rarely easy. Growth rarely is. But staying the same is harder. The moment you stop growing, you begin fading. A wise woman knows this deeply. Even when change feels uncomfortable, she trusts it's leading her to a stronger, clearer version of herself. She doesn't resist it. She flows with it. She understands every challenge sharpens her, strengthens her, and shapes her spirit. To keep evolving, she keeps learning, not just from books or mentors, but from life itself. She observes people not to judge, but to understand. She studies her emotions to learn her patterns. She reads, she listens, she reflects. She learns new skills, new ideas, new ways of seeing the world. Because the moment she stops learning, she stops expanding. She knows curiosity is her greatest strength. It keeps her open, humble, adaptable. Reinvention isn't about becoming someone else. It's about returning to who you really are beneath all the layers of fear and expectation. A wise woman doesn't reinvent herself because she's lost. She reinvents herself because she's growing. She lets go of old dreams that no longer excite her, old identities that no longer define her, old versions of herself that were built to survive, not to thrive. She gives herself permission to begin again, without shame, because she knows that each time she sheds an old layer, she comes closer to her true self. Reinvention takes courage. The courage to be misunderstood, to walk away from comfort, to start again from nothing. Many fear starting over because they think it means failure, but the wise woman knows starting over is a sign of strength. It's saying, I'm not stuck. I can grow. I can rise again. And she does again and again. That's what makes her unstoppable. Her willingness to keep becoming. Sometimes growth means being alone for a while. It means leaving behind people who preferred the older version of you. The one who tolerated more, questioned less, dreamed smaller. But she accepts the solitude because she knows every reinvention starts in silence. In those quiet moments, when no one's watching, she rediscovers her voice. She finds what truly matters, and from that clarity, she builds her next chapter. A wise woman also knows that learning isn't just mental, it's emotional and spiritual too. It's about unlearning old wounds, healing patterns, releasing control. She learns to trust life again, to move with it instead of fighting it. And when she does, something amazing happens. The more she grows, the more life opens up to meet her. Growth attracts opportunities, new connections, new dreams. Life rewards expansion. When you evolve, the world evolves with you. So she keeps learning. She keeps changing. She keeps rising. She doesn't hold on to who she was. Because she knows that every time she grows, she steps closer to who she's meant to be. She reaches for what's possible, for the promise of what could be. She keeps learning, not to prove she's enough, but to keep shaping who she is. She lets her mistakes turn into wisdom, her wins into humility, and her growth into quiet light. She knows that reinventing yourself isn't something you do once. It's something you practice all your life. The world might say she's changing too much, that she should stay the same, that she should be predictable. But she smiles and keeps moving forward because she knows staying the same would mean turning her back on herself. She's not here to repeat yesterday. She's here to build tomorrow. So she chooses change, not as a loss, but as a kind of freedom. That's what makes a woman truly wise. Never finished, never fixed, always becoming. Because the woman who keeps learning, who keeps growing, who keeps finding new versions of herself, never runs out of possibilities. She becomes unstoppable, not because she knows everything, but because she's brave enough to keep discovering who she can be next.